So let me share a little bit about my guest today. His name is Simon Davies. And for those who are in Alberta, might recognize his name or seen the results of his work when he worked with the organization, a very renowned organization here in Alberta that's an example in customer experience and employee experience, ATB Financial. And since then, he is now working in a large enterprise organization in Europe, responsible for managing the people experience for over 5,000 employees in general. So he has many insights on how the employee experience also now is important in the AI economy and what leaders need to know about how to bring that adoption, successful adoption of AI among employees. So who doesn't want to know about that, right? So let me introduce you to my friend and my guest, Simon Davies. Welcome, Simon.
Good afternoon there, Corey. Thank you.
Wonderful to see you. Well, good afternoon for you. It's morning here in Calgary, and we are so lucky to have you. Thank you for sharing your insights with us today.
Oh, you're welcome to. Thank you very much for the invitation. It was a great pleasure.
Yes. Well, I appreciate this. And so, Simon, one of the things that as I was sharing is, can you expand a little bit on this background on how your role as a market researcher has been at the intersection of these 4X, right? Like you were sharing some insights and what this meant, for the different sizes of organizations and situations that you have worked with in the past and now in comparison to what you're doing now.
Yes, for sure. And I've had the advantage of really working in, as you say there, Corey, all the 4 experiences across my career, central government in the UK, different sort of industries around technology, education, private education, in particular universities, and equally in the financial market sector, as you mentioned there in Alberta. And each of those, you're connecting with the customer pretty much all the time, because what you're doing in EX influences what you can do and what you'll see with CX and brand experience, or even UX, because the understanding of an employee's experience has a direct impact on the other 3 strands. So whilst you may not be directly in those spaces, your indirect involvement has that direct impact. So I think it's really useful to know and to appreciate that that cross-threaded intersection is really important. And with the sectors that I've had the benefit of working, you demonstrate that quite clearly.
And what did you find was you had an aha moment in regards that you have shared about the difference between like working in one organization where everything is more predictable than when you have like a matrix organization, right? That you have all these branches. Like what has been your insight in that contrast?
Quite significant, really. I think, when you're working for one organization, one territory, one geography, one language, yet still multiple cultures, you have greater ease in the ability to engage with your customers, your stakeholders, your clients, and the process is simplified and more efficient. That's not to say everything else is not efficient in a matrix organization where I am in my current position. But a matrix organization across 15, 20 geographies, 15, 20 different languages, you've got a lot more external factors and barriers to take into consideration just before you even start, like your legal code and compliance, GDPR requirements, etc. So the challenges are quite profound in the sense that you've got a lot more to overcome in how you engage and connect with your stakeholders, employees and or customers. So you've really got to think, what's the best methodology and approach?
Yeah, definitely. That sounds like a good challenge, right? Like a good experience. Like it'll just stimulate, how you think about that just shifting, right? How you design things, and
Yes.
it's a true example on how you have to think experience first, right? When you think about all of these different areas, it's not the same experience. It might be the same type of goal or the same type of aspiration, to get to some insights or to get to results, but the how, you have to determine what are all these humans involved in thinking about it, right? I can only imagine what you have to design. So what are some strategies that you have implemented in order to align, these different areas of the company, these different branches of the company, and bring it into one experience, one cohesive experience?
I mean, first and foremost, you're right in what you say there. Methodology is crucial, and the approach. There's a great advantage in technology here today with Teams and things like that. That you can get to people quickly, you can get to people more effectively and cheaper. But is there quality in that methodology when you're doing research? Because everyone is so busy versus working in a company where you've got single geography, where you can probably be more in person to do research. So that balance is actually quite important, because at the end of the day, that could directly impact the experience of the research methodology and the research model. So for where I am in Europe, in the multinational organization, that is a very profound challenge. A lot of the work we do does fall to being online, but to help that process, we translate the vast majority of our work into native languages for all of our other markets. We do online qualitative and other quantitative studies, but the feedback we've had when we compare an online event to an in-person event, the in-person event has greater traction, greater energy, greater passion, greater engagement. You just feel it, you see it, the energy's there, versus online. Are people concentrating? Are their photo screens off? Are they looking at their emails? Are they really paying attention? Are you getting that same value? And that's where I kind of sit between the two. And I wish we could do more in-person events, purely. I really do, because that's just where I think the value is added.
Absolutely. Nothing substitutes the in-person connection, or like the human-to-human connection, correct? And
absolutely.
And I call that, it's kind of like that merge of like the quantitative and the qualitative, right? It's so important. If you only look at the data, you never understand the human.
Yeah.
Right. But when you hear the stories, when you see the emotion attached to it, absolutely. That's so valuable. So so tell me about that. Mm-hmm.
I mean, data is one perspective of this. Every data's data. It doesn't come to life until you have that story, that insights, the why behind the data that explains, a particular situation, a particular circumstance. You've got so much more capability in technology. And whilst I say technology is great for online, you've got to try and bring that technology into the room as well, so that you can capture the narrative in the room, so you can leverage the technology more. But you've got sentiment analysis, you've got emotions analysis, you've got natural language processing. AI is in everything we're doing online now. So with analyzing results through online technology, AI is making that so much more efficient and effective in understanding the why. And if we could really get the hybrid of online methodology in the room, you're going to have probably quite a good feast of experience.
Yes. Yeah, I can see a good feast of insights there, right? And such. I love that word. Just for any of the market researchers who might be listening, they'll go like, oh yeah, I know what you mean. When you get like all of these real light bulbs coming up, right, in different areas. And one of the things is, so you mentioned, also using AI, in the analysis, which is, something about how much trust can we put it as researchers into AI insights. Yes, it can like speed up different things, but what are some mechanisms to then keep the human insight into it? What have you found in that area that works for you, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite early days for us, to be honest, in that space of AI integration. We use online technology that's got the capability. We are starting very soon to engage our senior stakeholders, our business leaders of this technology in how to interpret and use this capability. But when you got this data and this technology, you're asking questions to your AI agent about what are your top three strengths, weaknesses, or opportunities, or what are my top
Mhm.
three actions. The AI agent goes away to compute its response, and it's coming back with the answers that you're looking for. But are you going to trust the agent, or are you going to take the time to really check the agent and see if you can find the same outcomes? That's
Exactly.
that's the challenge there. But other areas where you've got AI support is just how AI can how AI can analyze transcripts. So
Right.
that in itself, a transcript from an online meeting, focus group, workshop, or an in-person recorded event, it can't really go too far beyond the parameters of the transcript because you're asking it to analyze a said object or set of objects. Equally with data, it can't go too far out. It's just how it's interpreting the data versus a human. And I think that's where there's extra time needed.
Yes. You know what brings to mind, and you might remember this because you highlighted a lot of sections in the book, but I referenced in the book that one earlier in my career when I was like really focused on doing surveys, and I was working for an large automotive company, and we were running all these surveys. We had to make inform the executives, and how do we keep our market share, and where are the insights, and looking just at data, right? And one of the decisions that I made was to go, and spend more time in the storefront, right? To go to the showrooms and
Mm.
just sit and watch, watch the employee interaction, watch the customer interaction, and in walks, an individual, that reflected everything I had been reading in the data that people were telling me about. But it was not until I saw the interaction and seeing that this person is walking in the room to pick up his new vehicle, but brings the whole family, and they're all dressed up, right? They're all dressed up to pick up the vehicle. Sunday best, I called it, right? And then I all of a sudden my mind went like, poof, the data is not telling us that how important this car is for this person. What this means, that he's so proud about, the outcomes, and that it's a family celebration. And then all of a sudden you have this insight that, and I now equated that it's like AI wouldn't tell you that, right?
Exactly.
It needs that. It needs that. Even remembering it makes my, I get goosebumps, right? Because it's this moment that opens your eyes, right? It's kind of this moment. And we were talking about in your role, like you were, one of the things that you have been doing is bringing in, switching from doing a survey, right? A 75 question once a year engagement survey, to starting more like a continuous learning in EX, right? And
Mhm.
bringing in more like that blend of qualitative, and it was related to AI adoption, correct?
So yes,
That's one of the goals.
one aspect of that continuous listening was introducing and implementing a study that evaluated our current state of AI adoption and perceptions. I'm a firm believer that there's a purpose for surveys, there's a purpose for asking questions and seeking feedback on experiences, and because if you don't ask your stakeholders, customers, employees, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, even how do you know what you're doing and what you're going to implement is going to be right, it's going to be successful, and it's going to be what they need? So by way of slowly transitioning the business mindset from that one annual survey where you often throw 75, 100 questions in, and then at the end of the day, okay, what piece of information do I focus on, when, how, and have I gone to sufficient detail? Moving to a pulse opportunity such as an AI adoption survey, you can be a little bit more specific, you can be a little more customized, you can tailor certain questions to certain groups, be much more relevant, be much more intentional. And that's what's given us some new insights that will hopefully, as I start to roll this out over the coming weeks, now we've finished the survey, that our leaders have got the tangible baseline in order to say, okay, if we do this now, this is our state of play now, and if we do X, Y, and Z going forward, then next time we have an iteration, hopefully our scores or our perceptions would have improved and increased. For example, one of our early insights is the approximate average time saving is quite low at the moment. Okay, right. People are learning, people are exploring, people are training, people are trying to understand the capability of the technology and how it fits their role. Well, if that adoption increases in the right way, your average time saving should start to increase. And therefore you can leverage other activities in the workplace, like quality of work or learning and development or better work-life balance.
But you have to measure it, right? Otherwise you don't know. So yes, absolutely. So, and that's what you're doing. Like you have this benchmark, you can set some goals, you can learn through it. Of course, there's always like the need for, what does this mean, right? That's like, I'm like, oh, I'd love to see all that data and stuff. But this is one of the, it's also this pathway of what do you measure, right? In these kind of things. So you're measuring, time that it saves. I was just reading recently that one of the metrics that is also being promoted and implemented is to measure how much time is spent fixing AI outcomes, right? How much time employees, and like also measuring the contrast, right? How much is it like the productivity and how much does it actually take time away, in cleaning up, spending time in cleaning up AI messes, let's just put it this way, or biases, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of like looking at that contrast, because we haven't done this before, right? Simon, this is introducing like a new, the agent itself and the AI in itself, whether it's as a workflow tool or is it replacing a process, it's a completely new agent in the journey, in the experience journey, right?
Yes, and what we're seeing, what we think we're seeing from the results is there is a nice, what seems to be a happy medium blend where employee responses are indicating that harmonized understanding, learning that AI is complementary to employees and it's not there to replace employees. So if you've got that understanding now, that's a very important signal in the communication to share that this technology isn't going to directly impact headcount, but truly understanding the time it takes to get the right prompt. So that prompt engineering is important, because if the prompt request is not clear to the AI technology,
right,
the output and the value of that output for you as an end user is not going to be great. So therefore, you've got to repeat and redo.
Does that mean that there's also a component in the employee experience in relation to AI that is about training?
I think
education component in it?
Yes. And I think, whether you've got a user group or a non-user group as your core segments, we're seeing in the early indication that whether you're a user, there's still appetite for more training, more ongoing training to better themselves and better their capability and knowledge, as much as there is for a non-user who's probably even less familiar with the capability and technology, but they got that energy. So you need to balance that in order to convert, the return on investment of that training and the knowledge creation.
Yes, absolutely. And now one of the aspects that you referenced, when we were talking earlier as well, is that there needs to be a mind shift. Like, sometimes we're thinking the old way of doing things, and we say the old way, and it's like just a couple of years ago, right, and stuff. And the new way of thinking. What do you think is needed, for leaders for business leaders, right, and in general, who are not technical, who are not the tech side of AI, because of course they get it, but to adopt this new way of working and of thinking, quite frankly?
Yeah, I think for any leader, whether you're a HR leader or a business leader, they're always going to say, "I need more time." But I think that's always a get out for a lot of people these days, because it's not their number one priority. And I think sometimes that brings sort of, research, CX and EX into a debate where where's the value. But if you've really got the right methodology behind it, the right resource behind it, the right expertise behind it, the right technology behind it, I think you're going to get to your aha moments much more quickly, much more effectively, and that process will be therefore much more enjoyable and much more impactful for your stakeholders. So I go back to my early parts of my career, or even early parts of this career in Europe, that once a year survey has just become too overloaded.
Mm-hmm.
It takes months to prepare. It takes 2 months to analyze the data, which you get 3 months later. You've then got 1, 2, 3 months to analyze it or action plan it and implement changes before you do your next annual survey. That cycle goes around so quickly, you just haven't got that time to do it. So by transitioning, I think, to more modern ways of doing things, AI, online technology, in-person technology, all of this boiled up into a new concept. I think you've got a golden ticket where leaders can say, okay, trust the system, trust the process. With certain technologies, you've got results real time. You've got dashboard results real time. You've got AI reading and interpreting results real time. And by breaking it down into bite-size continuous listening components, you can get to the actions much more quickly, much more effectively. And you can see potentially then your annual survey shrinks, and you can then just focus on, the core KPI metrics.
No, absolutely. This is like accuracy and timing are so important, right? And it's like when you say you're dealing with obsolete data with employees who might not even be part of the equation anymore, or just at critical points, like that, where you have to consider what happened at that time, what was happening, and now it's different. I definitely remember that pain point, right? Being inside organizations, and it does have to change. Don't tell me it hasn't changed yet, but it's about this iterative process, right?
Of course, it hasn't changed for everyone. I don't think everyone's on the bandwagon yet. I think we do still see the annual survey. There is a transition. I think there is advancement in certain regions of the, more advanced than others. But I think, as you say, it's how relative the data and the insight is to the moment in time. That's why we call it continuous listening. It's not new. It's not a new concept. It's there.
Yeah.
You can't ask for somebody's experience at a supermarket or booking a holiday 6 months later because they've forgotten.
Absolutely, yes.
Ask for the feedback when the transaction's complete. And if there's a negative point, you've got that immediate action ready to go and resolve. And I think for leaders, whoever you are and wherever you are, whatever your capacity, trust the system. Think back at how it involves, changing processes, evolving technology, driving and getting to results much more quicker, much more effectively. What's the cost saving?
Fantastic. Well, definitely, Simon, you have a ton of experience in this. You have a lot of relatable experience for anyone who's in your shoes or has been in your shoes, right? When it comes to these pain points of being that voice of the employee, right? Of like building these aspects. And thanks for your advice, to business leaders as we go through, what does this mean? How can employee experience continue to evolve? And also great job, in trying to break through, right? In doing these initiatives to break through on the status quo.
Yeah, breaking through barriers. But I think the one part that's really important, I think, is collaborate. And as your book talks to multiple times there, Corey, is breaking down silos. Don't do it on your own in your own silo. Come together as a bigger group, harmonize an approach, harmonize a methodology, do it in a bigger scale, customize it, localize it, but do it as one collective group. And I think you'll have way more advantages as well, because you can leverage everybody in that process rather than just on your own.
Yes, you've said it so well. Thank you. No, this is so good. And then, you also reference, prioritizing it, right?
Yeah.
It's like making that a priority. If it doesn't get prioritized, it doesn't get done, right? You just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
right?
you got to review it. You got to reiterate. You got to redo it. You got to tailor the initiative A to initiative B and C and reflect what you've learned from the past, and don't keep asking the same questions over time. Really kind of study and see where you need to learn and change things up.
Stay in touch with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So that sounds fantastic. Well, thank you, Simon. This is, thank you for sharing these insights, for giving us your time as well. And for those who are listening, if you want to learn more about, how to bring this connection between, all of the different experiences that matter in your business, that are all about, how you can elevate your role, it's become a bridge, right? Become a bridge between, it doesn't matter what cubicle you're in, like don't wait for others, to identify the need for it or to come to you. If you're the one who sees that there's a connection between different parts of the organization, like the employee experience, like Simon is doing, and he sees connection with customer experience, user experience, brand experience, get curious and ask those questions. Let's get human, right? Like let's cross that bridge and go to talk to what's happening in that other silo that we don't know about. Many times that is the start of a revolution, I call it, right? Like that's the start of a transformation, a true transformation, right? Yeah. And Simon is a perfect example of a curious mind that, and also becoming a challenger of the status quo as well. So thank you, Simon, for that. And please, everyone who's listening, go to the forexmethod.com to find out more about, not only about the book, but the book is just the beginning. It comes with an entire 4X Academy. So when you get the book, you get a private portal with resources so you can put the book into action and more. And if you want more, you can bring me to talk to your teams. I can speak to your teams. Let's have a conversation on the possibilities and how you can really boost and change the organization and prepare it not only for the AI era and beyond. It's just to remain human is in more aspects. How do you make a bigger impact? And I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. We look forward to your feedback because we're the feedback people, right, Simon?
Absolutely. Feedback is energy, is food.
Exactly. Yeah. So thanks again for your time and have a fantastic day.
Thank you very much. Thank you.